You were not built for inboxes. You were not built for productivity apps. You were built for sunlight. We've been sold the lie that we are separate from nature. And the longer we pretend we can separate ourselves from nature and still thrive, the more we lose touch with what makes us fully human. This is The Unhappy American, a short-run podcast calling out the lies, flipping the script, and giving you real tools to take your happiness back. Because you don't need to do more, you need to do different. Subscribe now, not to the life they told you to want, but to the one you choose. Look, you're not unhappy because you're weak. You're unhappy because your nervous system is begging for something real. Screens, deadlines, recycled air, artificial light, and we wonder why we're fried. You were not built for inboxes. You were not built for productivity apps. You were built for sunlight, dirt, trees, space. This isn't about burnout. This is about biology. You don't need a silent retreat in Sedona. You might just need to feel the sun on your skin before 9 a.m. We've been sold the lie that we are separate from nature, above it, smarter than it, capable of controlling it, dominating it, even living without it. We build our lives in boxes, seal our windows, filter our air, control our climates with the flick of a switch, and we tell ourselves we're fine. But we're not fine. We're anxious. We're exhausted. We're out of rhythm with the very system we evolved in. We treat nature like it's a luxury, a backdrop, a nice-to-have reward after the real work is done. But nature isn't our break from reality. It is reality. It's not a weekend getaway, it's your source code. Your body knows how to regulate stress in sunlight. Your brain resets in green space. Your nervous system calms in stillness, not in scrolls, not in screens, not in open plan offices with piped-in air. And yet we now spend over 90% of our time indoors, surrounded by artificial light, climate control, and constant stimulation, completely disconnected from the natural world that shaped our bodies and brains. That's not neutral, that's devastating. A study found that just 2 hours a week in nature significantly boosts both physical and mental health. Another showed that just 20 minutes outside in natural daylight led to significantly lower cortisol levels, a direct biological marker of stress. So no, you're not imagining it. Your anxiety, your restlessness, your fatigue, it's not a personal problem, it's an environmental one. So no, you're not broken. You're just living in conditions your body was never designed for. And the longer we pretend we can separate ourselves from nature and still thrive, the more we lose touch with what makes us fully human. Let me tell you when this clicked for me. I was living in Chicago at the time, and by my standards, and probably everyone else's, I was failing on most fronts. I was poor, I was overweight, I was single, and I was spending most of my energy trying to numb my way through reality. Lots of nights out, lots of overthinking, lots of quiet self-loathing that no one around me seemed to ever notice. But there was this one night, I can still feel it today. It cracked something open in me. I'd been out with friends, probably overanalyzing every conversation and silently drowning in my own negative self-talk. Eventually, it was time to head home. My friend Dan and I started our trek north. We figured we'd walk it, and if the Clark bus came, we'd hop on. It wasn't a bad walk, and the bus ran regularly. But then it started pouring. Like pouring. Torrential, sudden, can't see straight kind of rain. We took off running, at first laughing, shouting, trying to avoid getting soaked, but at some point we slowed down. Because we were already drenched, so why run? And that's when it happened. Something shifted. I wasn't thinking about my job or my body or who I was or wasn't dating. I wasn't trying to perform anything. I was just there. In the middle of Clark Street, alive. Soaked like a stray dog, laughing like a kid at summer camp. And for once, I wasn't performing. I was just existing. The rain hitting my skin, the city soaked and quiet, me in my body, not hiding from it, feeling human. It was the most alive I had felt in years. And when the bus finally came, I let it pass. I walked the rest of the way home in the rain, on purpose. Because in the middle of a concrete jungle, nature reminded me of my humanity. It wasn't a planned wellness moment. It wasn't a retreat or a routine. It was just truth. My body waking up, my senses remembering, me re-entering my own life. And ever since then, I've paid attention to that feeling. I've chased that aliveness, not through stuff, but through connection with nature. Sun, wind, water, movement, space. Because once you remember what it feels like to be real, to be fully in your body, to be present with the earth, you can't unknow it. You stop craving performance. You stop tolerating numbness. You start coming back to yourself. We don't need more productivity hacks. We need photosynthesis. We need to remember that we're not brains with to-do lists. We're not avatars of achievement. We are living organisms. And right now, we're not just disconnected from each other, we're disconnected from movement, from seasons, from rhythms, from the earth, from ourselves. Perhaps the most radical thing we can do in a culture built on speed and screens is to step outside, to slow down and feel something real. Okay. So this isn't about becoming a barefoot forest witch overnight, though honestly, doesn't that sound kind of incredible? Sometimes, maybe. Instead, it's about designing small, powerful shifts that connect you to what's real. You don't have to move to a cabin in the woods. You don't have to hike the Pacific Crest Trail. You just have to start where you are, with your feet on the ground and your face in the sun. Start your day with daylight. Even 5 minutes outside in the morning recalibrates your circadian rhythm and helps you sleep better at night. Don't just scroll in bed. Walk, sit, stand, face the sun. Next, take your breaks outside. Not in the kitchen, not on your phone, not under fluorescent lights. Outside, every day. Set a timer if you have to. Replace one scroll session a day with a walk. Just one. Your brain will thank you. So will the squirrels and your spine and your nervous system. And if you're a leader in corporate America, here's how you can support the rest of us. Because real wellness isn't another Zoom seminar or a step challenge. It's creating a culture that respects our basic human needs. So redesign your culture around movement and light. Walking meetings, outdoor brainstorms, sunlight exposure, these aren't indulgences. They're performance tools. Encourage and model outdoor time. If your company talks about mental health, but shames people for stepping away from their desks, that's not wellness, that's control. Rethink the physical environment. Bringing elements of nature into the workplace has been shown to increase productivity, creativity, and overall well-being. This is how you come back to yourself, to your body, to your mind, to your humanity. Because real happiness doesn't live in hustle or screens or fluorescent lights. It lives in your nervous system, in your senses, in your ability to step outside and remember, oh, right, I'm alive. You don't need a sabbatical or a silent retreat. You just need to give yourself permission to be a human again. Start there. Because that's where joy lives. That's where freedom lives. That's where you remember who the hell you are. Okay, so now that we understand that we are living organisms and not machines, we know what we need. Light, movement, fresh air, sound that doesn't come from a notification. Your body is wired for rhythm, not rush. For grounding, not constant performance. But the system you're living in wants you sedentary, distracted, overstimulated, and underfed, because that's easier to control. Because a tired, overworked, disconnected person is predictable. They comply, they consume, but you can opt out. Not with a plane ticket or a perfect wellness routine, but with a step outside. Because when you do that, when you start treating your body like it belongs to the planet and not just the internet, everything shifts. You focus better, you feel lighter, you remember how to breathe. You start experiencing joy in tiny, unexpected moments, in the sound of birds instead of emails, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the feeling of being part of something bigger than your inbox. And that's what a happy American looks like. Not a perfect person, not someone who cracked the code, just someone who remembers that they're alive. Someone who moves through the world with clarity. Someone who knows when to work, when to walk, and when to just be. That version of you, they're already in there. You just have to give them some air. So here's the invitation. Shut the laptop and walk out the door. Remember what it feels like to be a human being, not just a worker. Subscribe to The Unhappy American. Share this episode with someone who needs a breath of fresh air, literally. And for you, go outside. Not because it's cute or trendy, because it's essential. You weren't built for burnout. You were built for the sun.